Hey, good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. I'm a little late, so I apologize. But it is the third Sunday of Easter, April 26th, the feast day of Saint Zita, and she is the patron saint of maids, domestic servants, and waiters. And today's Gospel is from Luke chapter 24, verses 13 through 35. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Now that very day, two of them were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus, and they were conversing about all the things that had occurred. And it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them, but their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know of the things that have taken place there in these days?" And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him. But we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the third day since this took place. Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. They came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive. Then some of those with us went to the tomb and found things just as the women had described, but him they did not see." And he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are! How slow of heart to believe all that the prophets spoke! Was it not necessary that the Messiah would suffer these things and enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on farther. But they urged him, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. And it happened that while he was with them at table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. With that their eyes were opened and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us? So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon." Then the two recounted what had taken place on the way and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but while I was at Mass this morning and listening to the gospel, I remembered reading this not too long ago. So I went back at my notes, and I read this and interpreted it and gave you my 2 cents on it, I guess, on Wednesday, April 15th, tax day. So so we've done it before. So, the two disciples are on the road to Emmaus. They're leaving Jerusalem. Some man is walking with them. It's Jesus. They don't recognize him, but their heart is touched and burning for him, even though they don't know it's Jesus because they don't recognize him. And then, of course, when do they recognize him? Once they get to Emmaus and they're breaking bread. So Jesus breaks the bread, does the blessing, and he hands them the bread, and then their eyes are opened. Okay, so I've already kind of talked about that, and I've mentioned the importance of the Eucharist, and Jesus kind of being humorous and playing along, like what happened, what's going on. But so I'm going to focus on something else that kind of you can get from this gospel, and that's the two disciples on their journey. Because they didn't recognize him. Okay, so all of us, we have our own life journey. We all have our own story. We just might sometimes have a hard time of letting of God being the author and letting go of the pen so that he can write it for us, rather than ourselves, because of human. I think we all like to be in control of things. But the challenge is, how many of us go on a journey in life and we don't recognize Jesus, or we choose to ignore Jesus throughout that whole journey. So rather than taking that journey in peaceful stride, we kind of give into the mental fear and lack of faith and lack of trust in God. So, which is all in human nature. So, so the challenge is, don't do that. Trust God and know that He is in control of every journey that you go on if you allow Him to be, to speak with your heart. So that's the challenge for today. The appearance on the road to Emmaus. Have a great work week starting tomorrow, guys. Enjoy the Sabbath, and God bless. Amen.